You're listening to the Crystal Bar podcast, where crystals, astrology, and aligned living meet the cycles of the moon and year. I'm Claire, and each week I bring guidance and stories to inspire you to live with clarity, connection, and purpose. So take a deep breath, make this time for you, and let's begin. Happy July! Oh wow, 7th month of the year. We are here. And the energy is really shifting because before we stepped into July, a lot was happening right at the tail end of June, literally yesterday. Obviously, I'm going to discuss all of that. But first, how are you doing? What a week it's been. We've had that really balmy hot heat wave, and thank you to those of you who allowed me to not package your orders on Thursday afternoon, late afternoon and Friday, because it was scorching in the Crystal Bar. I did everything I could. I had a fan, I had the blinds shut, but because it's a south-facing room and above that in the ceiling are the solar panels, yikesers, it was hot, hot, hot. Not complaining. I know it was a lot for many, but I'll be quite honest with you. I literally just sat with my bum on the sofa, feet up, ice pops, and not a lot else. And the fan on. The doors were closed. We had the fan on. It was glorious. My husband was home. Oh, did he work? What day of the week did he have off? Apologies, he took the Wednesday off. It was Saturday he was sat with me. Yeah, he actually worked through it. My gosh. He did say, because they obviously start the day when it's cooler, it's like they slowly acclimatise to it, and they were in the shade, so it wasn't too bad. But I don't know, I don't fancy doing physical work in that heat, that's for sure. And apparently it's coming back. It's 25 degrees here today, apparently, but it's very, very cloudy at the moment. So I'm hoping it's not going to be as hot, because obviously after this, I'm heading into the office to package your orders. Yesterday got a bit steamy. Wow. And the day before, being a Monday, it's so busy. And obviously I had Friday's orders. By the end of it, I had all the fans on me. Kept going to wash my hands to keep cool and everything else. And then I discovered a little trick, which if you've seen my social medias, you would have seen the very quick reel I shared yesterday. Clear quartz in the fridge, then placed on your wrists. Oh my goodness. If you then do deep calming breaths, that's the one, and think calming thoughts, it becomes a little ritual as well. So I 100% recommend it. If you've got some clear quartz, whatever size you want to use, to be fair, it retains that cold. Yes, it does transmute heat as well, so it will warm up. But what it does, if you put it on your pulse points and hold it there, it's allowing the blood, because obviously your pulse points, the blood is near the top of the wrist. It will cool the blood. It's a really lovely thing to do. And obviously having the clear quartz around you, it's a win-win in any stretch of the imagination. So poor Arnie and Ivy, their groomers got cancelled last Wednesday, so they were rescheduled for Saturday morning. With it being so warm, she took 4 hours, which I'm very grateful of. They look gorgeous now. They were so hot and fluffy. We kept bathing them and they really loved that, and laying on towels and staying cool. They really appreciated that. It stopped them panting. But now that they've had most of their fur trimmed off, although they do say that dogs' fur does insulate them, etc., they seem much more comfortable now, though. Much more comfortable, which I'm more than glad about. What else has been going on in our lives? What else? Oh my gosh. Stuart and I went off to our usual walk around the nature reserve. That was lovely. We went exploring. It's such a large place. Normally, if we've got Arnie and Ivy, we're quite restricted where we take them there, because obviously they can only stay on the public bridleways. But we explored further this time. It was so nice. Felt like a completely different day out because of it, because we didn't go around our natural, normal things. And that's what I love about this time of year. I feel like it's about exploring outside more and your area and discovering new things, because we get into a bit of a stale mindset, and this time of year is about exploring that, having those adventures and bringing new different things into your life. So if you haven't done that, obviously heat depending, I challenge you this week to try somewhere new, even if it's going in a shop you've never been on. It will lighten your brain. It will make your brain think you're on a brand new adventure, which you are. And you'll just feel amazing about it, especially if it's doing something you love. It might even be going to the library and getting a book out about something you enjoy. It might be exploring a new nature reserve or a house or anything. My brain's gone. I've been writing, but the reason, by the way, 10:31 a.m. Normally I've recorded and uploaded my podcast. My notes took longer today. I don't know why. I just felt like I was just scribbling away, not making much sense. So I've had to kind of scribble a lot out. So bear with me if I'm a bit pointy rather than conversational. That's why. But should we get into it? Because, as I say, happy July, pinch punch. And can you feel it? Because I always feel like there's something about July that feels completely different. June felt incredibly busy astrologically. We had powerful shifts, the build up to the full moon. Mercury began its retrograde, and now one of the biggest planetary movements of the entire year has happened with Jupiter stepping into bold, confident Leo. It's almost like we've crossed an invisible bridge and the energy has changed. You might not be able to explain why, but perhaps you've noticed you're thinking differently. Maybe your priorities are changing. Maybe you're questioning what really matters, or maybe you've found yourself dreaming about a future that feels bigger than the one you've been settling for. And as I said, this is exactly what July does. It's not about transformation as such. Well, it's not about forcing that transformation. July actually invites it, so it comes into your life without you even expecting it. And this month isn't asking you to become somebody else. It's asking you to remember who you've always been underneath the surface, underneath the expectations and all your responsibilities and, let's face it, disappointments. And you know what? Even your fears that life naturally places upon you, because July is saying, hey, stop. This is a month of possibility. It feels like standing at the beginning of a beautiful woodland path. You can't quite see where it leads yet, but something inside you knows it's worth taking that step. And I think that's the biggest message for this entire month. You don't need to know every answer before you begin, because sometimes life simply asks you to trust that next step. So before we rush into everything July has to offer, let's just pause for a moment and acknowledge where we've come from. Yesterday and the night before, we experienced the full moon in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn often gets labelled as the ambitious, hard-working sign of the zodiac. But I think there's much more to it than that. Capricorn has asked you one very important question. What are you building? I'm not just talking about your career or finances, but I'm thinking emotionally, spiritually, within your relationships and within yourself. Because this full moon shone a massive light on the foundations of our lives. Some of those foundations have felt incredibly strong, whilst others may have already been showing cracks we hadn't noticed before, and now we are picking up on. Perhaps you've even realised, like many of us, you've been pouring your energy into things that no longer fulfil you. And maybe you've recognised that you've been carrying responsibilities that don't actually belong to you. Or perhaps you've discovered just how resilient you really, really are. Because why? Well, full moons, they illuminate. They don't create problems, They simply reveal what has been waiting patiently for us to notice. And sometimes that can feel quite uncomfortable, but I must say, clarity is one of the greatest gifts the universe can give us, because once we can clearly see something, we can choose what happens next. Now let's talk about it. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde. I know. The moment you guys hear those words, you often panic because, yep, technology, travel delays, misunderstandings, old relationships reappearing. It's all gonna happen. But I honestly think Mercury retrograde gets a bit of a bad reputation because it's not actually trying to punish us. It's actually just saying, hey, it's time to slow down. Just think about how quickly modern life moves. We're constantly consuming information. We're scrolling, we're replying, we're working, we're planning. And moving on to the next thing before we've fully processed the last one isn't always good. Mercury retrograde is asking you to pause. Oh, sorry, there's a really bizarre noise coming from someone. Oh, okay. So I think someone's cutting down their trees. Sorry. Okay. Where was I? Hang on, let me just flick my notes. Oh, okay. There we are. Well, I was rambling on about Mercury retrograde. It might scare you. All of that stuff might be going on in your mind, but it is good to check those travel plans before you leave the house. Have there been any issues with roads and roadworks? Double check your contracts. But all in all, Mercury retrograde is asking you to pause. It's asking you to revisit and review and reflect. It's like proofreading the next chapter of your life before pressing publish. And because Mercury is currently retrograde through Cancer, there's going to be an emotional layer to it. Now, Cancer is deeply connected to home, family, security, memories, comfort, basically our emotional foundations. So you may find yourself reflecting on old relationships, such as family dynamics or childhood memories, past versions of yourself. And this isn't because you're supposed to stay there, but because understanding where you've come from often helps you understand where you're going. You may even notice dreams becoming more vivid, or old songs triggering forgotten memories, or even random people popping into your mind. I mean, why? But these moments aren't necessarily signs from the universe. Sometimes they're simply reminders that healing isn't linear. Because let's face it, growth isn't about forgetting the past, it's about carrying it differently. And this whole retrograde gives us permission to do exactly that. So if life feels slower this week, allow it. If plans change, just adapt. If conversations need revisiting, have them, because sometimes the universe doesn't close a door. It simply asks us to read the sign on it one more time before deciding whether to walk through. Okay, it's time to talk about what I believe is one of the most exciting astrological shifts of the year. Because yesterday, on the 30th of June, Jupiter, get my words out, moved into Leo. And whenever Jupiter changes signs, it's a big deal. Jupiter, if you don't know, is the largest planet in our solar system. And in astrology, it's often known as the planet of growth and abundance, opportunity, wisdom, and expansion. It spends around a year in each zodiac sign, so when it moves, we all begin a new chapter collectively. So for the past year, Jupiter has been travelling through Cancer. It's been encouraging us to strengthen our emotional foundations, and many of us have spent the last 12 months thinking about home and family, security, and what truly makes us feel safe. It's almost been a year of emotional growth, whether we realised it or not. But now the energy changes. Leo is ruled by the sun. So think warmth and creativity and confidence and laughter. Think standing a little taller in your shoes. And think remembering who the heck you are. Because Jupiter doesn't whisper. It expands whatever it touches. So as it enters Leo, many of us may begin to feel a spark returning. Ideas that have been sitting really quietly in the background suddenly feel so exciting again. Dreams you've almost talked yourself out of begin knocking on the door once more. And you may find yourself wanting to create something or share something, start something, learn something. You get the drift. You catch the drift, should I say. However, it could just simply be allowing yourself to be seen a little bit more than you have recently. Now, for some of you, this will be a year of stepping into a stupendous moment of vitality and courage and strength, stepping onto a stage, whether that's literally or metaphorically. You may finally start the business you've been planning. You might launch the project you've been sitting on, or apply for the job you didn't think you'd get, or simply start saying yes to opportunities that previously felt too big. But the important thing to remember is that Leo isn't asking you to become louder. It's actually asking you to become more authentic. And confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about no longer apologizing for being yourself. And that is a huge difference. So pay attention to that as you come over. We'll get my words out. Pay attention to that as you head into the next month. So what is July really about? If I had to sum up July in just one sentence, it would be this. July is about remembering your own light. It's not about choosing someone else's life. It's not about comparing yourself to people on social media, not believing you're behind. This is about simply remembering what makes you you. Now, I wonder how many times you've talked yourself out of something because you didn't feel ready. Maybe even you've delayed applying for something. You might have even put off booking a holiday. Maybe you've even convinced yourself you're too old, too inexperienced, too busy, or simply not good enough. But July asks you a very simple question, and so do I actually. Who told you that? Who told you that? Because so often the limits we live by aren't real. They're often stories we've collected over the years, from school, from childhood, from previous relationships, from difficult jobs, stories from moments when life didn't go quite to plan, and something along the way and somewhere along the way, we start believing those stories are facts. But remember, they are not. One of the greatest gifts July brings is that perspective. Hopefully, you're going to begin noticing where you've underestimated yourself. Hopefully, you're going to begin recognizing these opportunities that perhaps you've walked straight past before. And I really feel like you'll realize you're capable of much more than you've given yourself credit for, because I know damn well you are iconic. You are more capable than you could even imagine. That doesn't mean everything suddenly becomes easy, however. Life will still be life, and retrograde will still ask you to slow down. There will still be unexpected moments, but your relationship with those moments begins to change in July. I want you to, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I want you to start saying, what is this teaching me? And that single shift in mindset will change everything. Oh, sorry if there was a delay, one moment. Just having a little sip of my strawberry water it's past the full moon now, but being strawberry full moon, I like to have strawberries in my diet for a few days before and a few days after. So there we are. Okay, so hopefully that last bit went in quite well. Hopefully you'll believe in that. But I just want to say that July is asking for progress, not perfection. I think one of the biggest misconceptions, get my words out, people have is that spiritual growth means always feeling positive. And believe me, it doesn't. You can be anxious and growing. You can be uncertain and still moving forwards. You can have difficult days and still be completely aligned with your path. I know so many people who think they're somehow failing because they had a bad week. Please believe me, you haven't. You're human at the end of the day, and July is reminding us all that progress isn't measured by how perfect your life looks. It's actually measured by whether you keep coming back to yourself. Every time life knocks you off balance, you return. Every time doubt creeps in, you remember. And every time fear tells you not to try, you still take one small step anyway. And that's resilience, and that's growth, and that is exactly what this month is helping us develop. So if you've been waiting for a sign from the universe that it's okay to begin again, perhaps this is it. And remember, as I said, July doesn't expect perfection. It's simply asking for your willingness and decisions. Just one decision, one little chit chat and conversation, one act of strength and courage and confidence, one tiny small step. Because those small steps have a remarkable way of becoming extraordinary journeys when we keep putting one foot in front of the other. Now, as we move through the week, we're also arriving on the 7th of July, my wedding anniversary. But this 7th of July is often referred to in the spiritual community as the 7/7 portal. It's not exactly an astrological event. You won't find a planet lining up in the sky or a rare celestial occurrence taking place. However, instead, it's a symbolic date that many of us use as an opportunity to pause, reflect, and reconnect with themselves and manifest like a boss. And I actually think that's amazing. It's a really beautiful day. You know, sometimes we don't need the universe to create a spectacular event for us. Sometimes we simply need to choose this day, these portal days, to check in with ourselves. So the number 7 has long been associated with wisdom and intuition and inner knowing and even spiritual growth. So think about how often it appears throughout history, nature, different belief systems. It's a number that encourages us to look beneath the surface. And when we see 2 7s together, many of you will hopefully take this as a reminder to trust yourselves a little bit more. This is a beautiful, magical day in numerology, my loves. This is the day the universe is working with you in the background to conspire and work for you. So even if you just write yourself a list, place your citrine, your clear quartz on top, your green aventurine, your jade, your pyrite, and speak it out to the universe and imagine it. The universe is going to be listening and watching a little bit more deeply. Now, there's a lot more to this day. I am going to go into it a little bit more right now about more of the psychological side, but keep an eye on my socials as I will share more information over the coming days. But I feel like, as well as all of the magic and the pizzazz and the golden lucky energy of 7/7, this day actually is a day to stop constantly looking outside yourself for every answer. And it's a day that encourages you to remember that you already know more than you think you do. And it's a day of asking you to trust yourself and to stop waiting until we feel completely ready. It's asking you to believe what you're capable of more than you've allowed yourselves to believe. So on the 7th of July, why not give yourself 20 minutes? Put your phone down. Make yourself your favourite drink, sit in the garden if the weather allows, or simply find a quiet corner of your home and ask yourself 3 questions. What am I ready to leave behind? What do I want more of in my life? And what small step can I take this week that my future self and the universe will thank me for? Notice I said small step, not a giant leap. Life isn't transformed in one dramatic moment at this time of year. It's transformed by hundreds of tiny decisions that quietly change our direction. Like I said, more on the magic of 7/7 coming up. Watch this space. If there was one piece of advice I'd love to leave you with for this month, it's this. Please stop waiting for confidence before you begin. Because confidence is rarely the starting point. It's usually the result of doing the thing you were frightened to do. So think back to something you've already been really good at. Driving, your career, looking after your family, a hobby you love. You weren't confident on day one, though. You became confident because you kept showing up, and July carries exactly this energy. It's going to reward your action and support your courage. It's going to remind you that growth often begins just outside our comfort zone. So please say yes to the invitation and send the email. Book the appointment, start the course, wear your flaming favourite outfit, take the photograph, go for the walk, apply for the opportunity, tell someone how you feel. Not because you know exactly how it will turn out, but because you never know if you don't begin. I have chosen 3 crystals which I am going to talk about very shortly, and it does include this one for the month. Listen, I've chosen 3 as my favourite for July. I have more on my socials, but these 3 are standout ones. But one of those is carnelian. And if you were to just carry one crystal this month, it would be that. Carnelian has always been associated with that courage, confidence, vitality, and positive action we've been talking about. And it's actually a crystal that says to me that you've already got everything you need, and it's about now trusting yourself. And doesn't that fit perfectly with July? Because we've reflected, we're going to slow down, we're going to review, it's a time to begin moving forwards again. And I love working with carnelian because it has such an uplifting energy. It reminds us to stop shrinking ourselves and to stop doubting every decision, to stop asking everyone else what they think before we've asked ourselves. If you have a piece of carnelian at home, perhaps carry it this month, because if you hold it during important meetings, keep it on your desk while you're working, even just pop it in your pocket before an interview, or simply spend a few quiet moments, you'll be surprised how quickly the answers arrive that you need. Just simply spend a few quiet moments asking, what's the bravest thing I could do today? And then often you'll find that ideas will pop into your mind with carnelian. And I feel like carnelian's a perfect crystal as well as my specific crystal of the month, because it often gives you the confidence to know that you've known the answer all along. We just needed to become quiet enough to hear it. But, of course, there are a couple more crystals that I would like to give you. So shall we shimmy into those? As I said, carnelian is the first one. It's the crystal of courage, momentum. After weeks of reflecting, July is encouraging that action, and carnelian will move you from thinking to doing. It reminds you to trust yourself, embrace those opportunities, and step forwards with confidence. My second, though, is moonstone. Moonstone keeps us connected to our intuition, my loves. And with Mercury retrograde encouraging that reflection and emotional awareness, I find that Moonstone reminds us to slow down, to listen to our inner voice, and trust that not everything needs to be figured out today. Because sometimes the answers arrive when we create space to receive them. And I'm going to follow these 2 on with citrine. It's going to bring you optimism, abundance, joy, and with Jupiter now beginning its journey through Leo, there's a brighter, more expansive energy building around us. Citrine encourages us to think bigger, to celebrate our successes, and believe that wonderful opportunities are indeed possible. And together, I feel like these three crystals tell the story of July beautifully. So, my loves, you've got to trust yourself, take the opportunity, and believe in what's possible. Whether you carry one of these crystals in your pocket, you could meditate or place them on your desk or just spend some moments with them. Just let them remind you of the energy this month is inviting you to embrace. My loves, I've been really embracing your charts this time for the whole of July. So, before we finish today's episode, I just want to take a look at how the energy of July may show up for your sun sign. As always, if you know your rising sign, I'd encourage you to listen to that as well, even your moon sign, okay? Feel free to be as open and explorative as you like. However, I'm just going to take a little sip of my water. Okay, right. Hang on, would help if I was on my right page. Okay, right. Here we go. Aries. July reminds you that not every battle needs to be fought. Your courage is one of your greatest gifts, but this month asks you to use it wisely. The opportunities that arrive now are likely to come through conversations, new ideas, and people who inspire you. Stay curious and don't dismiss something just because it wasn't part of your original plan. Taurus, you're being encouraged to strengthen your foundations, whether that's your home or finances, relationships or well-being. July wants you to create more stability. Small, consistent changes will make a much bigger difference than big, dramatic ones. Gemini, your mind is buzzing with ideas, but Mercury retrograde reminds you not to rush. Please write everything down. Revisit old projects. Reconnect with people you've been meaning to speak to, because something from your past may hold the key to your future. Cancer, this is an emotional but empowering month for you. Mercury retrograde is your sign, and it encourages reflection. But don't mistake reflection for standing still. You're learning more about yourself than you could ever realize, and that knowledge will become one of your greatest strengths. Leo, welcome to your year of expansion. With Jupiter now in your sign, the next 12 months have the potential to bring incredible growth. My loves, believe in yourself a little bit more than you have been, because July plants seeds that could continue growing along into the next year. Virgo, you don't have to have every detail figured out before you begin. This month is encouraging you to trust the process instead of trying to control every outcome. Sometimes the most beautiful opportunities arrive without a perfect plan. Libra, your relationships are going to come into focus. July is going to encourage you to spend more time with people who leave you feeling inspired rather than drained. And balance isn't about keeping everyone else happy. It's about honouring yourself too. Scorpio, transformation has become familiar to you, but this month feels lighter. Instead of constantly letting go, July asks you to embrace what's arriving. So keep your heart open to new experiences, even if they look different from what you expected. Sagittarius, adventure doesn't always require a passport. This month invites you to expand your mind through learning and reading and exploring and saying yes to something different. Growth comes from staying curious. Capricorn, After your full moon, it's time to integrate everything you've learned. You've been shown where your energy is needed and where it has been wasted, and July is encouraging you to invest more of your time in the people, the projects, and your dreams and goals that genuinely matter. Aquarius, innovation is your superpower, and July encourages you to think differently. Don't be afraid to challenge old ways of doing things because you're perfect, unique, get my words out, communication and all that. Oh, sorry, let me start that again. So you're going to find that your superpower is innovation. And July is going to really encourage you to think out of the box. So please don't be afraid to challenge old ways of doing things. And your unique perspective could inspire more people than you realize. Pisces, trust your intuition. You've been receiving nudges, ideas, and little moments of knowing for quite a while now, and July is asking you to stop doubting them. Your inner voice becomes much clearer when you stop asking everyone else for those answers. As we begin this new month, I'd like you to remember one thing. You don't have to become someone new to create a beautiful life. You simply have to become more of what you already are. July isn't asking you to race ahead though. It's asking you to actually trust yourself, to stop measuring your progress as against somebody else's progress, to celebrate how far you've already come, and to believe that the next chapter can be even better than the last. My loves, the universe isn't asking for perfection. It's just simply asking you to participate. So whatever dream has been quietly waiting in the sidelines, and whatever conversation you've been putting off, perhaps this is your month to begin. I've actually got a little July affirmation for you, actually. Okay, are we ready? Take a deep breath. Place your feet firmly on the ground and say, I trust myself. I welcome new opportunities. And I move through July with confidence, courage, and openness to receive. I'm just going to repeat that in full. I trust myself, I welcome new opportunities, and I move through July with confidence, courage, and an openness to receive. I just want you also to remind yourself that you are exactly where you need to be to take your next step. But for now, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I just want to remind you that that code that we discussed last week, 30%, is still active for you loves, and thank you so much for all of your lovely orders. If you follow me on Instagram especially, you will see in my stories I share orders every day, on most days, and you'll see that quite a lot of you have been treating yourself, and I am very excited for you. Big things too. Things that have been sat on the shelf for a few months are finally, hopefully, in your homes with you by now. But my loves, if you've enjoyed this episode, I would really love it if you could just follow the podcast, leave a review, or even share it with someone who might need a little bit of cosmic guidance, because without you, no one else discovers me. I'm just grateful for you. But until next time, please take care of yourselves, my loves. Enjoy everything July has to offer. Of course, we will be chatting before the end of the month, obviously. But I'll see you and speak to you very soon. Bye for now. And remember, the right crystal will always find you. Before you go, I have a very special discount code for you, especially for those of you who love buying crystals. So, the code is Podcast Crystal, If you use this at checkout at thecrystalbar.co.uk, you will get a very secret discount. And yes, it is a secret because I changed the value of the code throughout the year. So who knows what discount you will receive. But I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope you found it beneficial. And if you have, I'd be really grateful if you could just leave a comment, leave a review. And of course, if you have a friend who loves crystals just like us, please do share it with them. Sending you love, sending you light. Have a great week because honestly, my lovelies, you really do deserve it. And as I said earlier, remember, the right crystal will always find you.